Humanity's greatest enemy isn't laziness, it's confidence with Wi-Fi access. Somewhere along the way, we decided that boiling toothpaste, microwaving steak, and using power tools for beauty routines were all life hacks. The internet turned common sense into a suggestion and chaos into a hobby. And trust me, we've only scratched the surface. The truly catastrophic ideas are still coming. 1. Let's start strong, with the man who tried to clean his laptop keyboard using a vacuum cleaner. Not a handheld one, no, a full-size industrial shop vac. He proudly posted a before and after video online. The after shot featured him staring in horror as the machine swallowed 6 keys, his spacebar, and the soul of his warranty. The sound it made was like a dying accordion being mugged. When the suction yanked out the letter Q, he actually said, "Guess I didn't need that one anyway." For the record, he did. The next day, he uploaded an update from his phone, saying his keyboard was functionally minimalist now. Translation: he owned an $800 paperweight and a lifetime of regret. 2. Some life hacks are born from desperation. Others are born from TikTok. A teenager decided to save money on a haircut by using a drone. He taped a pair of scissors to a quadcopter, hit record, and confidently announced, "What could go wrong?" The answer: literally everything. Within seconds, the drone took off like a possessed blender, giving him a haircut that looked like a squirrel attack in progress. When it clipped his ear, his mom's scream became the soundtrack of natural selection. The video went viral, of course, not because it worked, but because he ended up in the ER with the world's first recorded case of aerial barbershop regret. Somewhere, Darwin quietly nodded. 3. Then there's the guy who thought he could hack gas prices by cooling fuel. He read online that gasoline expands when warm, so he figured filling up early in the morning meant getting more energy per dollar. Logical enough, until he took it further. He decided to refrigerate his car. No, seriously. He left his sedan idling overnight with the air conditioning on full blast, windows taped shut, trying to chill the fuel tank. By morning, his battery was dead, his driveway was an ice rink, and his neighbors had formed a small audience of disbelief. His proud conclusion? Didn't save much gas, but at least I learned something. Yes, you did. That intelligence, much like gasoline, evaporates quickly under pressure. 4. One woman discovered a natural hack to whiten her teeth by brushing with baking soda and lemon juice. Sounds familiar, right? Except she did it every hour for a week because, in her words, if it works once, it'll work better if I do it more. By day 3, her enamel had surrendered, her gums were screaming, and her smile looked like she'd been gargling battery acid. The dentist, who treated her, said it was like trying to polish pearls with sandpaper and rage. She posted her results online as a warning, but TikTok being TikTok, it only made the trend explode. Apparently, the internet decided yellow teeth were out, and radioactive Carl was in. 5. Some hacks start with, "Don't try this at home." This one started with, "I did it at home and now I don't have a home." A self-proclaimed DIY genius decided to unclog his sink using the explosive pressure method. That's a fancy way of saying mixing baking soda, vinegar, and gasoline in a sealed pipe. His logic was, it'll create pressure and blast the clog out. Technically true, it blasted everything out, including half the kitchen. The explosion launched his sink like a NASA prototype and left his cat traumatized enough to move out. The man survived with minor burns and major humiliation. The fire department listed the cause of damage as domestic chemistry experiment gone rogue. 6. You know those hacks that promise to save time, but actually just waste your life? One guy invented his own, speed cooking eggs with a hair straightener. He even filmed it for YouTube, calling it the future of portable breakfast. He clamped an egg between the hot plates, smiled for the camera, and waited. It immediately exploded like an edible grenade. The yolk hit the ceiling, his cat, and somehow the camera lens, all in one motion. His caption read, "Minor setback, but great flavor." His comment section looked like a support group for people who had witnessed crimes against breakfast. As one viewer put it, "Buddy, you didn't invent a hack. You invented salmonella on the go." 7. Some people meditate. Others invent new ways to violate common sense. One woman on Instagram posted a hack she called detox breathing through onions. She claimed that sleeping with a raw onion in each sock would draw out toxins while you sleep. Her followers didn't question it. They just peeled and believed. By morning, their homes smelled like medieval apothecaries, their sheets were ruined, and their feet looked like they'd been marinated in regret. A doctor later explained on live TV that onions do not remove toxins, but they do remove dates, roommates, and anyone with a functioning nose. The woman defended her hack, saying she felt lighter. That's what happens when your dignity evaporates. 8. And finally, meet the man who thought he could save time defrosting his frozen dinner with a hairdryer. Logical step? Sure. But patience isn't part of the modern skill set. So when the food wasn't thawing fast enough, he decided to add 2 more hairdryers. Soon he had a DIY heat tunnel of chaos aimed at a single plastic tray of lasagna. The tray melted, the wiring overheated, and his hack evolved into a small house fire. When firefighters arrived, he told them, "I was just trying to meal prep." They told him, "You did," for the insurance company. His microwave, untouched and confused, sat 5 feet away the entire time. 9. Let's talk about the guy who tried to save money on sunscreen. He read somewhere that olive oil has natural SPF. Technically true, if your goal is to fry evenly. He lathered himself up like a Greek salad and hit the beach at noon. 2 hours later, he looked like a rotisserie chicken having an existential crisis. He later told reporters, "I felt the burn of capitalism." No, sir, that was the sun claiming its next idiot. His before and after photos went viral, and now dermatologists use him as a cautionary slide labeled DIY Barbecue Edition. When asked if he'd do it again, he said, "Maybe coconut oil next time." Some people learn, others just marinate. 10. Then there was the influencer who believed she could cleanse her aura with electricity. She saw a TikTok saying to charge your energy, literally, by plugging a phone charger into an onion and holding it. She didn't read the comments. She just stuck a metal fork in the onion to improve conductivity. What followed was a short flash, a loud pop, and a scream that sounded like a horror movie trailer. The resulting video, titled "I Became Light," racked up millions of views. Her followers said she glowed differently afterward. Yeah, because her eyebrows were gone. The electrician who repaired her outlet summed it up best. "There's no spiritual awakening in 120 volts, sweetheart." 11. In the pantheon of dumb internet food hacks, this one deserves its own shrine. A man tried to make grilled cheese faster by ironing it on his desk. He wrapped the sandwich in aluminum foil, plugged in his clothes iron, and went full Gordon Ramsay of despair. It worked fine, until he accidentally hit the steam button and created a cheese geyser powerful enough to redecorate his wall. His smoke alarm joined the chaos, and his landlord gained a brand new reason to raise rent. When asked if it tasted good, he said, "Like shame and melted ambition." Somewhere, a toaster cried softly in the distance. 12. One mom decided to save money on baby wipes by making her own reusable version, using paper towels and just a little bleach. That little turned out to be half the bottle. Her first clue that it was a bad idea came when her baby started glowing like a radioactive jelly bean. Thankfully, everyone was okay, but her parenting blog wasn't. The comment section turned into a toxic waste site of disbelief. Pediatricians begged her to stop. She responded with, "It's fine, it's organic bleach." That's not a thing, Brenda. That's called poison. On the plus side, she invented the world's first diaper disinfectant and future therapy session topic for her kid. 13. A man once tried to make his shower eco-friendly by connecting it to his washing machine. His bowl theory: water from rinsing clothes could be reused for bathing. He proudly called it circular hygiene. He didn't account for detergent, lint, or the fact that soap doesn't magically reset between loads. The result? A bubble explosion that filled his bathroom like a rave for laundry detergent. He slipped, fell, and got rescued by firefighters who had to swim through foam. His statement to the local news: "At least I was clean." Sure, externally. Internally, though, that's pure chaos with a PhD in overconfidence. 14. Then we meet the woman who invented natural ironing. She refused to use electricity, claiming she could remove wrinkles by sleeping on wet clothes. She said body heat and pressure were nature's steam. The next morning, her outfit looked like it had survived a car wash and a tornado. She wore it anyway, proudly posting a video titled "Zero Energy Laundry." The comments were brutal. One viewer wrote, "This isn't eco-friendly. It's wrinkle activism." Her boyfriend reportedly left not because of the wrinkles, but because she smelled like damp laundry and disappointment. 15. A fitness influencer decided to hack metabolism by jogging in a trash bag to sweat out toxins. What he sweated out instead was common sense, and eventually consciousness. By mile 3, he looked like a boiled ham in gym shorts. Paramedics arrived, peeled him out like a leftover burrito, and treated him for dehydration. He later claimed it worked too well because he lost 8 pounds of water and dignity. His next video was titled, "What I Learned from Almost Dying for Views." Spoiler, not much. He tried it again 2 weeks later, this time with 2 trash bags for extra detox power. 16. And finally, a man believed he could hack sleep by skipping it. He read about polyphasic rest, a system where you sleep in 20-minute bursts 6 times a day to gain super productivity. For 3 days, he was unstoppable. By day 4, he was hallucinating, yelling at his coffee maker, and trying to unlock his front door with a spoon. On day 5, he passed out at work and drooled into his laptop so aggressively it short-circuited. When he woke up, he swore he'd never need sleep again. He was right, because his boss fired him on the spot. The real-life hack? 8 hours. It's free, legal, and doesn't end with you screaming at appliances. 17. A college student decided to hack laundry day by washing everything at once. Colors, whites, denim, shoes, and, for reasons unknown, his gaming headset. He poured in an entire bottle of ultra-concentrated detergent because more bubbles wash more clean, then set the machine to sanitize, which is appliance speak for boil your wardrobe alive. 10 minutes later, the dorm hallway looked like a soap-based natural disaster film. The machine coughed up foam, belched his shoes into the corridor, and dyed every white shirt a heroic shade of denim teal. The headset? It survived if you count emitting whale noises and smelling like a citrus shipwreck as surviving. He posted a tutorial titled "Laundry in One Move," which is accurate if the move is eviction. 18. There's a special place in the DIY Hall of Shame for the guy who fixed his cracked iPhone screen with clear nail polish and a heat gun. Step 1. Slather on the polish. Step 2. Heat it gently. Step 3. Panic as the glue liquefies, flows into the speaker grill, and fuses the volume buttons into permanent whisper mode. He doubled down, claiming the speaker just needed airflow, then drilled 2 tasteful holes in the phone's frame with a hobby bit. The results were avant-garde. The mic picked up wind like a convertible doing 80. The proximity sensor thought his cheek was a thunderstorm, and Siri refused to talk to him out of principle. He titled the aftermath, "iPhone Pro Max Custom," which is one way to pronounce warranty funeral. 19. A self-styled home barista tried to hack a $600 espresso machine out of a $30 pressure cooker. He watched one video, strapped copper tubing to the lid with zip ties, and declared himself an engineer. The plan: build pressure on the stove, route it through the tubing, and blast hot water through a coffee puck he had lovingly compacted in a metal tea strainer. What he built instead was a caffeinated pipe bomb. The gasket failed, the lid launched like a UFO, and the espresso redecorated his ceiling in a tasteful sepia. Miraculously, he walked away with only a scalded ego and a kitchen that smelled like a burnt cafe. He later reviewed the shot as bright, with notes of drywall and fear. Michelin would agree. 2 stars, both concussions. 20. A thrifty traveler read that freezing shoes kills odor-causing bacteria. True-ish. She scaled it to luggage. Freeze your entire suitcase to reset fabric smells. She set the bag on her apartment balcony during a winter cold snap, zipped it shut, and went to bed feeling like a genius. Overnight, a snowstorm gift wrapped her suitcase into a frosty boulder. In the morning, she wrestled it inside and parked it near a radiator to thaw faster. The ice melted, the clothes steamed, the leather handles warped like linguine, and the apartment began smelling like a hot gym sock tea. Mold joined the trip as a surprise guest. At the airport, her bag shredded a wheel, did a dramatic wobble, and surrendered. Final cost of the hack: 1 suitcase, 3 outfits, and her relationship with wool. 21. Minimalism is great. Minimal furniture? Fine. Minimal bed frame because floor sleeping improves posture. That's where our hero went camping in his own spine. He ditched his frame, set the mattress on the floor, and crowned it with 47 decorative pillows for support. Dust mites threw a housewarming party. Within a week, he developed a cough, and within 2, discovered the apartment's slight basement leak turns floor mattresses into sponges. The sleep hack ended with a mildew colony, a chiropractor on speed dial, and the majestic sight of him dragging a soggy queen size down the stairs like a defeated sea creature. He now swears by traditional beds, calling them vertical sleep platforms, which is a fancy way to say he gave up losing to gravity. 22. A guy tried to speed up plant growth with a CO2 hack. Place candles around his houseplants to supercharge photosynthesis. He arranged a votive circle like a botanical seance, lit them, and went to shower, blissfully unaware that carbon dioxide's favorite wingman is open flame near curtains. The smoke alarm sang, the candles funneled heat up a macrame hanger, and the pothos experienced sudden, decisive autumn. The fire department saved the day and gave him a lecture that could wilt redwoods. When he uploaded the charred result, commenters noted the irony. He had, in a sense, accelerated plant decomposition. His follow-up video featured a new hack: sunlight. Revolutionary, zero candles, 100% less insurance paperwork. 23. Inspired by a hydration craze, a wellness blogger invented electrolyte showers. Pour sports drink into your bath for skin energy. She filled the tub with warm water, added 3 bottles of bright blue liquid, sprinkled Epsom salt for detox, and slid into what looked like a tropical aquarium. 10 minutes later, the citric acid and dyes had her skin tingling like a neon lemon, and the sugar turned her bathtub into a sticky slip and slide. When she pulled the drain, the syrup coated the pipes. Cue the plumber who arrived, took one look at the Smurf Lagoon, and charged a novelty cleanup fee. Her conclusion post read, "Felt energized, skin buzzing." Yes, that's what hives do. New routine, plain water, and a restraining order from Gatorade. 24. Finally for this round, the productivity hacker who replaced coffee with DIY sun gazing. He claimed staring at the sunrise for 10 minutes would charge his brain. Day 1. Smug Instagram story, barefoot on the roof. Day 2. Squinting bravely, typing captions from memory because reading was suddenly effort. Day 3. He missed a meeting because his eyes needed rest, which is the medical term for I did optical CrossFit. An optometrist later explained that, shockingly, the sun is not a snack. He pivoted to candle gazing, then set off the fire alarm, evacuated the building, and landed on the office Slack as a cautionary tale. He crawled back to espresso whispering, "Missed you," which is the only healthy relationship he has maintained all year. 25. Meal prep meets metallurgy. A dad decided to hack cast iron seasoning with a power washer. He'd read you should strip old seasoning before re-seasoning. He translated that as remove the pan's past with industrial violence. Out on the driveway, he blasted 60 years of family dinners into the neighbor's begonias. Then, to dry it faster, set the skillet on a roaring charcoal chimney. The handle glowed red like Mordor's doorbell. He grabbed it with dollar store oven mitts that immediately considered early retirement and fused to the iron like burnt marshmallow. Pan warped, mitts melted, ego smoking, he marched inside and tried to cool it in the sink. Thermal shock did what thermal shock does. The skillet cracked with the sound of a heartbreak in surround sound. He ended the tutorial with, "Cast iron is overrated," which is how losers talk when they just lost to a frying pan. 26. A thrift store visionary found a vintage fondue pot and decided to hack it into a smart home diffuser. He filled it with essential oils, placed it on a live burner, and let aromatherapy evolve into petrochemical opera. The first 5 minutes were heaven, lavender fields, spa music, peace. Minute 6. The oil flashed, the pot burped a purple flame, and the smoke alarm began singing the national anthem. He tried the classic "blow it out," which works great on birthday candles and exactly nowhere else. The flaming fondue pot waddled across the stove like a molten duck as he fumbled for a lid. In rushed a roommate with the fire blanket, laid it over gently, and saved the lease. Instagram caption, "Home hack gone spicy." Landlord translation, "Combustion experiment in Unit 3B." The diffuser now sits on a shelf, retired, still smelling faintly of lavender and terror. 27. Our minimalist queen attempted a closet hack. Capsule wardrobe by dyeing everything black. Shirts, socks, towels, yes, towels, into a single washer with 2 packets of fabric dye and a prayer. She forgot the rubber gaskets, the plastic dispenser, and the part where dye travels like gossip. For 48 hours, the apartment existed in a grayscale detective film. The washing machine wept goth tears onto the floor. The dryer helped by turning the black towels into lint confetti that colonized every other garment like a tiny monsoon of soot. She posted, "It's giving chic Parisian. It was giving chimney sweep." When she finally washed something white, it emerged a dignified shade of pigeon. She called the manufacturer to complain. They gently explained dye isn't a feature, it's a chemical. She now owns 6 black outfits, 1 permanently sullen dog blanket, and a deposit in serious jeopardy. 28. A car guy decided to ceramic coat his vehicle the cheap way. He mixed floor polish, rubbing alcohol and optimism in a spray bottle, then misted his sedan like a florist at closing time. At first, glorious shine. Then, as the sun hit, the DIY glaze began to rainbow into gas station puddle, and the dust baked into it like sprinkles on a wrong cake. He buffed. It smeared. He buffed harder. It textured. Soon the car looked like a gummy bear with pores. Birds, delighted by the tackiness, began using it as a landing strip. He attempted an acetone rescue that turned his side mirror into avant-garde matte. The detailing shop quoted him a number that sounded like tuition. "What product did you use?" they asked. He said, "Industrial polymer." They said, "Mop and glow?" He left in silence, his clear coat weeping softly in the wind. 29. A home chef tried to hack sous vide with a fish tank heater and a cooler. Not terrible, until he added the circulating feature by dropping in his aquarium pump, freshly retired from an actual aquarium. The steak bath turned into a jacuzzi for microscopic ex-residents, seasoning the ribeye with the memory of Guppy's past. He sealed the bags with dollar store zipper locks and a thumb prayer. Halfway through, a bag failed, baptizing the meat in tepid fish tea. Still undeterred, he torched the exterior with a hardware store propane burner that had opinions about eyebrows. Dinner tasted like aquarium nostalgia with notes of butane bravado. His girlfriend asked if this was that French method. He said yes, if by French you mean performed beside a toolbox. The dog ate well that night. Everyone else ate cereal and reevaluated the relationship between water, electricity, and dinner. 30. A productivity addict decided ordinary keyboards were slowing him down. Enter his hack: hot swap the keycaps to optimize travel distance, remap half the letters, and add 6 macro keys for flow. Day 1, he typed faster, if the assignment was inventing new languages. Day 2, his passwords failed because muscle memory had filed for divorce. Day 3, he tried to present at work and live, edited the slide title into pure cryptogram. Tech support watched a grown adult weep while hunting for the period key hiding where Q used to live. The pièce de résistance, he installed a foam mod for Thok, which made the keyboard sound like a smug drum. HR asked him to mute his instrument. He returned to a normal layout, defeated, declaring, "QWERTY is a prison." Yes, and some prisons are there to protect you from yourself. 31. A renter on a budget attempted soundproofing with egg cartons because his band needed a studio vibe. He glued 1,000 to the walls with construction adhesive that smells like hot asphalt and lasts until the heat death of the universe. The cartons did not soundproof. They decorated. The neighbor continued to hear every practicing chord progression of Wonderwall and eventually began vacuuming at 2 a.m. in retaliation. When the lease ended, the cartons had fused into a lunar landscape. He spent a weekend with a putty knife, 3 blisters, and the grim realization that each carton removes both paint and hope. The security deposit waved goodbye. The band never booked a gig. The only thing that got muted was his bank account as he paid for skim coating. He now recommends digital soundproofing, which is just not playing. 32. Finally in this batch, the meal prep maverick who decided to cold smoke indoors using a cardboard box, a soldering iron, and a tin of wood chips. He poked a hole in the box, fed the iron through, and declared the salmon on vacation. Within minutes, the apartment smelled like a log cabin inside a toaster. He opened a window. The smoke detector opened its heart. Sprinklers considered participating. He fanned with a baking sheet until his arms filed for workers' comp. The salmon emerged beige and emotionally distant. His landlord emerged angrier and less cooked. He tried to frame it as Nordic heritage cuisine. The building group chat called it arson cosplay. He ended the evening on the curb with a plate of lukewarm fish and a new understanding of why smokers, of any variety, belong outside. 33. The dental frugality hero who decided to DIY a chipped tooth with 2-part epoxy deserves his own cautionary billboard. He watched a 5-minute video, mixed the resin, like frosting, and sculpted a molar while staring into his bathroom mirror with the intensity of a watchmaker. At first, triumph, smooth surface, glossy finish, a smile that said, hardware aisle chic. Then the cure set. Epoxy heats as it hardens, turning his mouth into a tiny kiln. The fake tooth bonded, not to his enamel, but to his cheek. Cue the emergency dentist, who needed a Dremel and 2 assistants to unglue the arts and crafts project from his face. Bonus twist, the epoxy trapped a micro bubble, so every time he drank something hot, it whistled. He handed the bill to TikTok in spirit and posted, "Dental hack, mixed results." Mixed is generous. The only thing he successfully filled was his dentist's vacation fund. 34. A budget audiophile tried a free noise-canceling hack. Vaseline on the window tracks and cling film over the panes to create an airtight seal. He mummified his rental like leftovers and sat back, proud, as the room grew blissfully quiet, because he'd also covered the HVAC vent. Within hours, the space went from peaceful to terrarium. Condensation wept down the glass, the drywall began to pucker like a cheap suit in rain, and a black-spotted science fair took root behind the curtains. When he finally peeled the film, it took half the paint with it in long, satisfying ribbons of deposit forfeiture. The noise? Still there, now accompanied by the unignorable sound of mold bragging. He bought real earplugs, stared at his humidifier of a wall, and drafted a new philosophy. If the hack involves suffocating your house, maybe let the house breathe. 35. Remember our indoor cold smoker? Meet his cousin, the smart kitchen visionary who plumbed his fridge's ice maker to a seltzer tap for fizzy ice. He teed into the carbonated line, ignored the part about pressure regulators, and hit the lever. For 3 glorious seconds, it snowed artisanal bubbles. Then physics knocked. Carbonation shot back through the Tao system. The reservoir foamed like a rabid cappuccino, and the auger froze solid in a sugary, sticky glacier of lemon-lime optimism. The ice chute burped slush across the floor like a soda volcano. Sticky footprints mapped his shame throughout the apartment. Ants RSVP'd yes. A repair tech quoted a price that sounded like an airline ticket, pointed at the soda-soggy control board and said, "Sir, your refrigerator thinks it's a soda fountain." He's back to normal cubes, and a lifetime ban from touching compression fittings without adult supervision. 36. A productivity guru invented the infinite treadmill desk. Bolt a $90 walking pad under a standing desk, strap a tablet to the monitor, and hit 5 mph because multitasking is a mindset. It worked beautifully until a calendar alert popped up mid-zoom. He reached to dismiss it, caught the edge of the belt with his sock, and moonwalked into chaos. The headset flew, the camera witnessed a blur of elbows, and Slack filled with, "Are you okay?" While he windmilled toward the bookcase like a drunken helicopter. He survived, desk didn't. The toppled monitor cracked the glass of the framed inspirational poster behind it, Focus, which felt like the universe doing prop comedy. He now evangelizes a calmer hack. Sit down, walk later, and let your computer do exactly one job at a time. Revolutionary stuff, almost as radical as using a chair, which we learned earlier is civilization's greatest invention. 37. Hearing about ear candling. A wellness explorer tried to accelerate the detox by using 2 candles per ear for stereo cleansing. He laid on a yoga mat, propped the cones, lit both ends, and waited for enlightenment, or at least a satisfying crackle. The ash column drooped, the wax drooled, and he discovered ears are attached to hair. His roommate sprinted in with a damp towel, the bathroom filled with the scent of artisanal cedar and singed dignity. The postmortem revealed the debris in the candle wasn't earwax at all, just the charred interior of the cone, which is like congratulating yourself for removing toxins by burning a paper cup. An ENT later pulled a waxy confetti plug from his canal the size of a pencil eraser and deadpanned, "The only thing you extracted was money from your wallet." He left with drops, a lecture, and a new respect for cotton swabs used correctly. 38. A waterproof your tech hack told a beachgoer to wrap his smartwatch in plastic wrap and seal with a lighter to shrink fit. He achieved a flawless, crystal-tight cocoon over the microphone holes, the barometer vent, and the charging contacts. The watch read his pulse as 1,000 because it was suffocating. Salt air sneaked in anyway, condensed, and the sealed humidity turned the internals into a spa day for corrosion. When the battery swelled, the shrink wrap fought back, and the watch developed the aesthetic of a blister. At the repair shop, the tech sliced, it open. A breath of briny air escaped like opening an old lunch. "You made a terrarium," she said. He nodded solemnly, posted a PSA, and bought the $12 waterproof case he'd refused on principle. Lesson: if your solution is entomb it in kitchen film, you're not waterproofing, you're marinating. 39. An inbox wizard attempted the ultimate email hack. An autofilter that labeled anything with the boss's name as FYI, and filed it to a quiet folder he'd check once daily to reduce anxiety. Excellent. Until the boss CC'd him on a client escalation, a deadline change, and a new meeting link. He serenely deep-worked right past all three. By 4 p.m., he was the only square not in the Zoom. He joined late, explained his attention diet, and watched 12 faces process the phrase like he'd just announced he only reads mail on Wednesdays by candlelight. He removed the filter, restored chaos, and penned a fantasy novel called Inbox Zero, Career Zero. The real hack he learned later: flags, rules that ping loudly for specific names, and the radical practice of reading the first line before deciding if your future self should deal with it. 40. Finally in this stretch, the chef of efficiency, who stacked 3 countertop appliances on one power strip to create a meal prep tower, air fryer on top, blender in the middle, rice cooker at the base, all perched on a rolling cart he called the flavor elevator. He hit 2 switches at once. The breaker reconsidered its contract. The cart vibrated like a carnival ride. The blender walked forward and yeeted a smoothie lid into the backsplash. Hot air from the fryer reheated the rice cooker's cord into al dente. When the strip tripped, it welded its own switch into a modern art piece labeled Melt. He filmed the aftermath and titled it, "One Strip to Rule Them All." The comments delivered the only recipe he needed: 1 circuit per heat source, stir in surge protection, garnish with not building a skyscraper of appliances you plan to shake. 41. A money-saving engineer decided HVAC filters were a scam and invented the permanent filter, a window screen zip-tied inside his return vent, spritzed weekly with cooking oil to trap dust electrostatically. What it trapped was everything. Within days, the screen became a furry felt gasket. The fan strained like a hairdryer inhaling a rug, and the coil iced over into a polar exhibit. When the AC finally quit, his thermostat read 29 degrees Celsius and climbing, while the blower motor announced retirement in the scent of toasted varnish. The tech arrived, pointed at the shimmering grease mat, and performed a dramatic pause taught in trade schools specifically for this moment. After a multi-hundred-euro scolding, he bought a 6-pack of real filters and posted a video titled, "Don't oil your air." It's the rare hack that both suffocates your lungs and deep fries your electricity bill. 42. A cyclist wanted hands-free, wind-optimized hydration, so he 3D printed a helmet spout connected by vinyl tubing to a 2-liter soda bottle duct taped to his back. On the test ride, he forgot soda bottles are both pressurized and judgmental when warmed by the sun. 15 minutes in, the bottle swelled like an overconfident pufferfish, the cap launched, and a geyser of sports drink power washed his neck, his brakes, and a very surprised spaniel on the sidewalk. Sticky pads, squeaky rotors, and a swarm of sugar-loving insects joined the training session. He named the invention Hydrohorn. His friends renamed it Bee Summoner. Back at the workshop, he discovered the helmet vent holes now functioned as syrup injectors. He's since switched to a boring tube-and-bottle system and a helmet that isn't flavored. The only wind optimization he achieved was the whoosh of his dignity leaving his body. 43. In pursuit of a calmer commute, a driver tried soundproofing his car with expanding foam. In the doors, around the window tracks. He masked the edges, poorly, shook the can, enthusiastically, and filled the cavities until the metal went from hollow thunk to tense silence. The next morning, his power windows attempted to roll down, met a wall of fossilized shaving cream, and surrendered with a crunch. When the summer heat hit, the foam grew like bread dough, squeezing trim, popping clips, and sculpting the once sleek door cards into Baroque relief. He Googled how to remove cured foam, found answers that included patience, solvent, and new doors, and began pricing patience. His passengers now ride in a mobile stress toy, pressing ripples that no longer spring back. On the bright side, theft deterrent is excellent. Even he can't get inside without a prayer and a pry tool. 44. A chef scientist attempted crystal-clear ice spheres with a freezer hack. Boil water, fill balloons, hang from the top shelf, and direct a desk fan through a cut-out pizza box to simulate directional freezing. The fan jammed, the balloon knot failed, and the freezer's evaporator transformed into a glacial chandelier. He chipped at it with a butter knife, great for scratches, hit a refrigerant cap tube, great for swearing, and turned a $200 ice project into a $600 appliance repair. The balloon that survived froze around a pocket of air, creating a fragile orb that shattered like glass when he tried to impress a date with a whiskey pour. Nothing says romance like picking latex confetti out of mahogany. He later learned you can buy a mold for $20 that does exactly this. He keeps it next to the butter knife, both reminders that science is best practiced outside the freezer. 45. On a mission to declutter cables, a gamer stapled his power strip under the desk using metal staples, then tidied the slack by bundling cords with zip ties so tight they sang in E minor. He routed the monitor brick alongside Ethernet for speed. Vibes, coiled the excess like pasta, and admired the aesthetic of a wired terrarium. Week 2, the strip's switch arced against a staple, the breaker flipped, and his PC learned what abrupt darkness feels like mid-firmware update. The repair shop called his cable art electro-spaghetti and handed him a bill plus a surge protector lecture that included the phrase strain relief 4 times. He now owns adhesive mounts, Velcro, and humility. His desk underside looks like a minimalist mural. His heart rate does not spike when someone says firmware. Truly, the greatest glow-up is not burning your house down. 46. A thrifted treadmill became a dog enrichment hack when its new owner built a tiny canine gym. Incline maxed, treats dangled, and a Bluetooth speaker blasting motivational whale sounds. Don't ask. Session 1, the dog considered the moving floor, made a quick decision about gravity, and began moonwalking backwards into the snack bin with the elegance of a furry Michael Jackson. The leash snagged a handweight, the belt accelerated to cardio thunder, and the room staged a low-budget action sequence. The only enriched entity was the content reel. Slow-mo ears, flying biscuits, and a human practicing parkour over a collapsing laundry rack. The dog learned exactly one behavior, sprinting joyfully to the couch whenever the treadmill beeps. Enrichment achieved. The treadmill was resold as lightly used, emotionally heavy. Somewhere, a whale stopped singing just to sigh. 47. Meet the smart home whisperer, who decided his doorbell camera needed facial recognition for packages. He trained a model using 400 photos of boxes, then set an automation. If package face detected, unlock door for courier. Day 1, success. Day 2, a cloud shaped like a rectangle fooled it. Door unlocked to a breeze. Day 3, a neighbor's toddler carrying a cardboard castle triggered Vault Tech mode. The door swung wide, cat saw Narnia, and vanished into the hedges. Now running a neighborhood search party, our hero posted, "Anyone seen a tabby named GPU?" The cat returned at 2 a.m., insulted and hungry. He disabled the AI, reverted to a chime, and printed a sign. "Please knock." The future arrived, tripped on a box, and left with claw marks. Sometimes the smartest home is a dumb one with locks that wait for humans. 48. Grand finale. The ultimate saver, who tried to merge 3 hacks into one glorious catastrophe: free energy, home security, and pest control. He mounted a discount wind turbine on his roof, wired straight to a battery bank with jumper cables, attached motion-sensing floodlights, calibrated to Angry Lighthouse, and sprinkled ultrasonic rodent repellents throughout the attic, set to maximum scream. First windy night, the turbine overcharged the batteries. The floodlights strobed with EDM enthusiasm. The ultrasonic chorus drove a family of squirrels directly into his living room, via the chimney, where they staged a rave. Neighbors reported disco weather. The inverter cooked, the breaker popped, and his house entered a rare state known as techno-silence, broken only by the faint sound of squirrels judging him. The power company tech arrived at dawn and said with compassion and terror, "Sir? Why?" He whispered, "A hack." Mic dropped. Lights out. Squirrels won. Humanity keeps reinventing the dumb wheel, now with Wi-Fi. Which disaster wins? Syrup tub or techno squirrels? Drop your vote below.